documents that we looked over. Basically, just to kind of let you know without giving you all the numbers, and I put the raw data there in front of you, but basically what we found out was that the majority of our stakeholders feel like they are being communicated with. The majority of them said either weekly or daily that they were getting information from us, which was great. However, unfortunately, the kind of the spot that stood out was 47% of the student body, those would be the students that are not student athletes, said that they were never communicated with on the survey, which was disappointing to see. The main forms of communication that our stakeholders preferred were email, and then social media as well was a big one that people liked. Again, the majority of our stakeholders felt that we were reaching key audiences. Only 28% of students agreed with that again. So that was kind of, the students were kind of the one outlier that's looking like are not feeling communicated with, and we're missing out on a lot of that. However, the majority of stakeholders, including those students, felt like they were always aware of opportunities to attend athletic events, which is a good thing. And it was actually one of the interesting things that came out of this was that 47%, as I mentioned, 47% of students said that they were never communicated with. However, 42% of those same students said that they were always aware of when we had athletic events. So that was interesting. But then the other piece to that was that of those same students, 55% said that they had never attended a Parkview athletic event of any kind, which I was disappointed to see that as well. So that's just kind of, again, and I'll get into that in a little bit, an area I think that we need to look at. So with document analysis, just a real quick, what I found with the 3 documents that we reviewed. The website, and this is specifically the athletic website, it's not current. It's an older platform that we use. It's not well kept up to date. There's a lot of pages on there that you click and they lead to nothing. And it's not mobile friendly if you try to pull it up on your phone. Just not very user friendly, and it needs some updates for sure. So the website needs some work. Social media was a high point. Specifically the Twitter account, people, a lot of good feedback from that. People felt like they were getting good information there. And then the mission and vision statement was interesting. I feel like they do communicate the desired message that of who we are as Parkview Athletics and where we want to go. The big issue with that is that it was not very well known among stakeholders. Most stakeholders couldn't tell what the mission and vision statement were. And then the other thing that we decided through the review was that there was no collaboration in creating those statements. They were basically just done actually by myself. So that's an issue, I think, going forward as we look. So just real quick, these are some perceived strengths and weaknesses. These are not what I came up with, but this is just straight from the surveys and the interviews, what people gave to me. Some of the strengths that they thought information was easy to find, that it was typically sent in a timely fashion. Again, the social media was a strong point. People liked the emails that they got. They liked that there were multiple different ways to get information, and that it was widespread. I did get feedback that it was effective and direct, and that it was also constant, which I was happy to see, and efficient. Some of the weaknesses that people pointed out were just that, again, the website was not always current, which is very true. Some people said it can be a little overwhelming, sometimes too much information. And then, interestingly, people, and a lot of good feedback from the social media, but someone said that we rely too much on social media, which is interesting. And again, too many emails. Again, this was a concern for me that only the big sports are recognized, and some of the quote-unquote minor sports aren't as recognized, and that not enough people are being informed or reached. And then again, that the website is not uniform. In other words, there's a baseball website and a football website and a basketball, but they're not all the same, and they're not all housed under the athletic department website, which I think is a great point. So basically, just real quick, according to my analysis, what I came up with, again, some of our major strengths. People, the majority of people do feel like they're being communicated with, and a lot of people did speak very highly about the social media, specifically Twitter. Again, the widespread communication. And then the fact that the communications are accurate and usually timely. And then another piece of information that I got or feedback from people was that they were pleased with the general direction of what we were trying to do. They could tell that we were trying to make positive steps. And then just some areas for growth. I think for us, a new website is needed, and that's actually something that's already in the process of being worked on. And when that website needs to be kept up to date, and then we do need to house all of the athletic websites underneath the umbrella of that main form. Although social media was a highlight, Twitter and Remind are the only 2 types of social media that are being used. So we're missing some audiences there with Facebook and Instagram and possibly even Snapchat. So I think we could spread that out and reach some more people that way. And then again, the big thing is that the student body is just not being reached. and I think we need to do a better job with that. So with that, I'd just like to give you some recommendations, and then we'll wrap up here. The first thing is we need to create a new website. We talked about that a little bit already. We need to make sure that once we have it, that it stays up to date and that it's current. I'm also going to recommend that we reevaluate the mission and vision statement. We want to put together a committee with external stakeholders and internal stakeholders, involve some students and coaches and teachers, and just make sure that we come up with something that represents who we are, and that through that process that we can get that mission and vision statement more visible to people, that they're aware of it. And then lastly, we just want to have a marketing campaign to reach the general student body. We want to go out and reach those students. Obviously, they're not looking for the information right now, but we want to go out and we want to find them. We want to brand the athletic department a little